No matter how hard you try, you are just having a real challenging time attracting, staying in a positive flow needed to attract. Maybe thoughts of being unlucky or even unworthy start to flood your mind. If you've experienced this while trying to use law of attraction, stay tuned. Let's talk about how trauma might be getting in the way of you using law of attraction. So grab your tea or your drink, your comfiest blanket, and let's get into it, shall we? We shall. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. For those who are returning, welcome back. I am so thankful that you all are here. For those of you who have no idea who I am and you're just joining me, my name is Drew Johnson Boise. I have over 8 years of experience as a energy worker, sound healer, community activist, and as of recent, I am currently in my second year as a PhD student. I share this to say that I do have a background in both aspects of our topic today, trauma and law of attraction utilization. I want to take a second and just mention why I was inspired to create this video. I ran across an online reader who shared that we should just simply forget about the past and the negative things that happened to us. I responded to him and shared that for some groups of people, that is harder to simply just do, especially if your brain is literally wired to the opposite. But I was met with the same response. And it completely irritated my spirit. He was just like, you just need to forget. And I'm like, there are groups of people who are experiencing collective trauma, like slavery, like all the other collective things you could think about, but also individual traumas. And a person cannot just simply forget that and then just will their way and think their way into the positive. Now. That is possible for some, but it is most likely not the case for all. And for those who have impact or experienced their attraction being influenced by the resistance of their trauma still being present, this video is for you. Okay? When I was attuning to attraction, I was really leaning into Abraham Hicks. I found myself having a really hard time with just keeping my mind on a positive flow state. And if any of you all are familiar with Abraham Hicks, that's what they really hone in. You need to stay in the positive flow state. But how challenging is that for someone who's experienced anxiety? For me, I was literally diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Later found out that it wasn't bipolar disorder. I was having an emotional deficit response. So there's so many things that happen within the physiological aspect of the mind that impacts our ability to connect with the spirit. And the more that we have these discussions, I think the better off we shall be. Anyway, with these experiences, I found a way to maneuver through my own stored emotional energy and resistance that had hindered me, and it inspired me to talk about today's topic. So get comfy, let's talk, let's chat. If you clicked on this video, you may have an idea of what law of attraction is, but just in case, let's get into what law of attraction is and what in the world does it have to do with trauma. Some people would say it doesn't, but I beg to differ anyway. Law of attraction is the idea that your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs not only attract similar energy, but also actively help you create the life and experiences you wish to desire or you want. It's about more than just like attracts like. It's about the intentionality, focusing your mindset, your emotions, and actions to align with your goals and desires. When you are clear about what you want and stay in positive, abundant state, you are not only drawing those things to you, but you're also setting yourself up to actively create and receive them. It is a mix of mindset, energy, and action. working together to shape your reality. So let me just pause for a second. Some people will argue that you're also co-creating with the divine. Now, this also depends on your religious ideology, your belief system. Again, if you watched my previous video, you would know that I attune myself to being spiritual, but I find that law of attraction works within different religious sets. And people use law of attraction to just call it different things, like praying or manifesting. Some people will pray what they desire and they believe that a higher source is going to bring it into them, and they'll have have faith of a mustard seed. Just as someone would pray in Christianity, someone pray in Judaism and Buddhism and Muslim and what have you. All the different types of religious subsets and organizations, they all have their own steps to bring in heart's desires. So what does trauma have anything to do with this? What does it have to do? Okay. Well, this is where my little thought comes in. Trauma can significantly impact your ability to effectively use law of attraction because it often creates resistance, emotional and energetic blocks. The law of attraction operates on the principle that like attracts like in some sense, meaning the energy and emotion you emit influence what you attract into your life. When unresolved trauma lingers, it can anchor you in negative thought patterns, self-doubt, fear, or a lack mentality, which may inadvertently manifest more of those experiences. Trauma can also disconnect you from your sense of worthiness. We're going to be talking about that, making it difficult to align with higher vibrations of gratitude, abundance, and joy that facilitate the law of attraction experience. Additionally, unresolved emotions stored in the body and subconscious mind can create resistance, making it so much harder to focus on positive intentions and believe in the possibilities of achieving your desires. It creates a big old mess. So I want to just share two or maybe a couple of stories of me intentionally using law of attraction and me actively using it. So the first one, this was back when I was in undergrad. So it was like 2016, 2015-ish. And I was rooted, drowning, if you will, in anxiety. Okay. I was struggling. I was on the struggle bus. And for some reason, I just had this fear that I was going to get a nail in my tire. Have no idea where this fear came from, but I had hyperfixated on the fact that there will be a nail in my tire. And for some reason, it's going to blow my tire out. And I had this thought daily for about maybe 2 weeks. And for me, at this time, I was working 2 jobs, living on my own. Well, I had roommates, but I was self-sufficient financially, and I couldn't really afford there to be a nail in my tire. So I'm sitting here like, I please nail, avert my tire. Anyway, so time went on. I went to a good friend of mine. They had a party, so it was in the summer. It was their birthday party. That's not important. And I remember just having a whole blast. Relax, enjoying myself, come outside. It was a full moon. I look at my little PT Cruiser convertible. Glistening in the moonlight was a nail in my front driver's side, and my tire was completely flat. And I said, I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. Hindsight is 2020. I manifested that daggone nail in my tire. And some people might listen to this and be like, did you really manifest it? Like, what's the likelihood? Around the school they were doing construction. It was possible. Yes, it was possible. Yes. But there's more stories where other things manifested that didn't necessarily seem possible. So I wanted to bring that in, that you can quite literally manifest anything. Positive experiences, negative experiences. What I've come to understand in relation to universal consciousness is there's no real thing as positive or negative. It's more high vibrational or low vibrational experiences. And so for me, manifesting that nail in my tire was very much a lower vibrational experience, but I wanted it apparently. So let me share with you all two other stories, and these are more positive stories. More positive. I'll save my big one for last. So about 2020, right after, no, 2022, after I had my son, I started getting into philanthropic work as a community event organizer. I had $0. I had $0, and I had received the instruction from my spiritual team that, girl, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put on this wellness event. It was October. I was going to put on October emotional wellness. As a matter of fact, this little piece right here, that is my proclamation from my first city acknowledged emotional wellness month. So that's why it's on the wall. It means something to me. Now I have like 4 of them. I'm like, whatever. Anyway, I digress. And I had no money, but I was informed like this is what I was going to do. And my husband, he's such a supportive partner, he takes care of our household expenses. So me and all my little brain ideas, that's up to me to fund, right? And I remember I was waiting on some money and it fell through. And I was ass out. I needed the money to pay for the rest of the venue, my organizers that I had, all of that. And I remember just sitting in the closet crying. And I was like, y'all gonna make me look stupid out here. I'm talking to my spiritual team because they were the one that gave me the idea in the first place. I'm like, y'all gonna make me look stupid out here. I'm gonna have to cancel the event. Do. And once I calmed down and focused on what I needed and what I wanted, and focused on the fact that my spiritual team would not give me something if it wasn't going to come into fruition, I started to hear and receive guidance of, okay, contact this person, do these next steps. I did that within an hour, 1 hour. I raised $1,500 and I was able to pay off everything. I'm not making this up. I threw it on a community event with $0 starting off. So that was like my first time. At that time, I didn't really have a name to put that I was actually utilizing law of attraction. At that time, I was just like, okay, well, I'm manifesting, I'm asking, I'm praying. The last and final time, and I have my little journal and this candle. I have these two because it has to do with this time, and it really touches my heart for real, because this time it was I was intentionally using law of attraction, and it scared the shit out of me. It scared your girl real bad. So my husband lost his job in 2023. Okay, so we already know he was the breadwinner. I'm over here doing my holistic things, and at this time he was looking for a new job. He told me to sit still. I don't have to, do anything else. Just focus on what I'm focusing on. So I had received guidance from my spiritual team that I would be utilizing law of attraction. At this time, I've never heard of the term. So that's when I started tuning into Abraham Hicks. And I found it really challenging for me, especially with my doomsday mindset of just how is this going to work? And I was talking to a good girlfriend of mine at the time, and there was this vegan wellness festival that was happening in LA. And she was like, well, let's go. And my logical mind is saying to me, with what money? The money you do have needs to go into the household. But I felt sick in my stomach thinking like that. I felt like there was an innate feeling, like a push to go, yeah, I think I'm supposed to go. And I didn't have any money, again, to go. And prior to that, I had agreed to my sister who lives in Houston that I was going to see her. So within maybe 2 weeks time, I would go to Houston, and then 2 weeks later, I would go to LA. Didn't have money for either one of them, but I knew that I was supposed to go down this wild goose chase. Fast forward, I started looking and researching law of attraction and employing the steps intentionally. And I would sit and meditate every single day. And I would affirm myself. And I started to feel batshit crazy. I started to feel absolutely delusional. I was just packing my bags. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I need you to take me to the airport on this day." He said, "Why?" I'm like, "I'm going to LA." He's like, "Okay." I'm making plans to Houston. So the steps I took, I received the guidance. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll clean out my house. And then I'm like, I have all these things I'm not using, like a Canon camera and all this. Maybe I should just put it on online and sell it. And so everything I put on there, I sold. And then I had good friends of mine just sending me money out of the blue. I had a friend of mine send me $300. She said, "I just felt like I was supposed to send you some money." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm planning to go to this trip that I have no money for, but I'm being guided to take these actions." So money was literally being thrown at me as I was meditating on a daily basis, affirming myself, communicating with my spiritual team. And so I made it to Houston, but I zeroed out my account. So there, we got to talk about this. There's a fine line between being practical and being absolutely delusional, and I was oscillating between the two. Okay, so I zeroed out my account. Again, I have 2 weeks to go to LA. So now I haven't booked my ticket. I have not booked anything. I don't have any money to spend while I'm there. Didn't pay for anything. Anything on the trip is not paid for. And I started getting booked for gigs. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll just put the money here." And I was just having a really challenging time. And it was the weekend of the trip. So I was supposed to leave Friday and come back Monday. And so Friday passed. And my friend's like, "I know you're coming." And I'm like, "I know I'm coming too. I just don't know how." And I remember being outside and I just spoke out loud. I'm like, "If I'm going, give me a green thumbs up." And initially I was looking everywhere for this green thumbs up, and I just stopped. I was just like, "Okay, whatever." And I decided to go to the dollar store. And I was in this candle area, and the only candle that caught my eye was this green thumbs up. It was the only one there. And I was like, this is the green thumbs up y'all sent me. And I remember at the time I was telling I was telling my counselor, she thought I was absolutely delusional. Everybody in my life thought I was absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, lost my daggone mind. And that was needed. So I want to just share real quick, because your girl can talk. I decided to write an attraction tracker. So at 5 p.m. I wanted to get a massage today. I also spoke, I wanted to wake up to an opportunity. I woke up to someone saying we should schedule my massage. So I had a massage ready for me. It just came out of nowhere. I went to explore yesterday while I was in nature. I said I wanted to see a green thumb. Just talked about that. I attracted my sister giving me a crab cake. I spoke out, "I really want some crabs." The next day, my sister's like, "Here, eat this crab cake." And I was like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you so much." I attracted money for Houston. I've been attracting a lot of bugs and animal messengers. One thing that I noticed, when you are in flow, for me, when I'm in a flow state, I get lots of compliments. I get a lot of animal messengers. I get a lot of just abundance coming to me. It's because I'm attracting. I'm attractive. They're just like, bzz, bzz, bzz. They just come, and I'm like, "Please, this is not consensual. Thank you." I welcome this abundance. Okay, so those are just a few. These are just a few things. So going back to the California trip, because I was writing in my journal, and in my journal I had people who were naysayers. Like, I had one person who said she used law of attraction tell me, like, "Oh, if something doesn't come by the day I want it, I give up." And I was starting to feel discouraged. At this time, it's the Saturday of the weekend of the trip. 2 days passed. There's only Sunday left. And I remember I was meditating and pulled my cards, and I heard my guide say, "Go have fun." And I said, "Okay." So there was a corn festival at this time. I went to the corn festival. I look up there. There's a murder of what is it called? A wake of vultures. Vultures are one of my spirit animals. I got a vulture tattooed right here. And they just were swirling around overhead of me. And I was like, okay, this is a message. And a man stood out of the crowd, in the back of his shirt said, "I just need you to believe." And I said, okay, all right. I'm getting all these messages. I'm like, okay, let me just enjoy myself. While I was at the carnival, the festival, I won a trip for two. And I just had to sit down at one of the meetings, and I said, you know what, I don't have time, because it was going to be like 3 weeks later, and I needed it for today. I'm like, can I go to the office today? Anyway, I left the festival. Something told me to go to my mailbox. In my mailbox was a credit card that I had completely forgot about. I forgot I applied for it, all of it. In there was enough money for me to book my ticket. So I sat in the bathtub and I was completely awestruck, well, what is it? I was completely dumbfounded and anxious. I was like, okay, I got the money. Do I go? And at the time, I was looking at the airplane tickets. Mind you, it's the Saturday of. I have not booked the ticket. Before I was looking, the tickets were now like $500. I look up the ticket for me to leave Sunday. It was one for $324 round trip. I had enough to get that and more. And so I booked the ticket. Oh, when I tell you your girl was in shambles. Look at this. I saved it and put it in my little book. I did. So I shared that to say I went out there, I hugged my friend. When I was visualizing and tuning into the emotion that I wanted to experience, I tuned into me hugging her, me seeing her, and just embracing and feeling what I would feel in that embrace. I went out there for one day. I went out there for one day. I looked like, y'all know that meme. I'm about to put it in here with the little fox. Just like, that's what I look like. I was struggling, okay? I was like, okay, I got the trip. I was like in a state of just complete disconnect of like, what just happened. So I really hope, I really hope my story time was entertaining for you, because your girl was really going through it. But it really required so much from me to do that switch. And as someone, and you're gonna hear more about my story as I do my ACEs series, but I grew up in a low income single parent home, and poverty mindset had put its little roots right in my little brain. And I'm sitting here like, am I worthy of my heart's desires? And feeling like, having the experience of having just disappointing things or bad things constantly happening, I just felt like, am I truly worthy of something else happening, good experiences? And it took so much for me to rewire my processing and my brain and uprooting myself from that trauma response and mentality. It took a lot. And so this really one of the reasons why I wanted to share this story with you all, or this video, because it is 1,000% possible. But I think that we should look at law of attraction through a trauma-informed lens. It's possible, but for someone who has trauma, you need a little more. And if you have trauma and you're just jumping into it and you're like, why isn't things working out? It can be so discouraging. So please use this as a means to help you move through. I'm going to go through each steps on what I did, but please know that it is possible. It is 1,000% possible. You are worthy. You are 1,000% worthy. Just know that there's just other things that you're going to have to work with yourself through to get to the other side. So here's a friendly reminder that law of attraction can be used other than attracting physical things like money and spiritual gifts. You can use it to have experience, insight, connection. I used law of attraction, as I talked to you about the money from my nonprofit. I've used it for friendships, to gain information, but it really, really required me to work on my worthiness. And I had to truly believe that I was worthy of my heart's desires. even when I didn't feel like it in the moment, it required a deep level of delusion for me. When I tell you all, my mom, at the time, my mom really had a conversation with me. She's like, "You are not operating in this reality," and that was the absolute truth. I was not. I was not operating in the reality of the 3D. So what do I mean by 3D? Like the collective humanity, conscious thought process of, you can't just simply wish upon a star and get your dreams. Like, that's not realistic. In that reality, it's not. But I was attuning to something where that was realistic, and I was seeing the results of that reality. I was getting tangible results. So just to put that out there. So for me, I had to have a level of delusion. When I was preparing for Cali, I had to pack my bags. When I was preparing for the nonprofit, I had to make calls and book people like I got the money. Lord have mercy. A mess. I had to feel like I was on my way there. I felt absolutely foolish, but at the same time, there was a level of giddiness and excitement that I was able to experience, and I centered it. I focused on, again, how I wanted to feel. So I think the difference between law of attraction and manifestation, some people use it interchangeably. I like to look at law of attraction rooted deeper in your feminine energy, where you speak out what you want and you're in a state of rest, whereas manifestation is you speak out, write out, petition, visualize it, and then do action steps. Now, that's not to say that law of attraction doesn't require you to have action steps, but it's more in a state of rest and trust versus I guess think it up in an action steps. And another thing for law of attraction is tuning to, instead of like the visualization aspect of manifestation, about what do you want to feel. So when I was using law of attraction the first time, I was trying to bamboozle, baby, the universe. I was like, I feel great, I feel abundant, I feel worthy. But I didn't. And you can't hide from the universe. Like, the universe knows what's up. Like, so you have to truly feel worthy. And people like to say the universe doesn't test you. I'm on the opposite end that, shoot, I've been tested, okay? Not tested in a malicious sense, but just like, oh, you feel worthy? Okay, so let's see how worthy you feel. Here's a bill. Do you got the money for it? And I'm like, I do, actually. I'm worthy, girl. So, what are the steps to law of attraction? How do we use this thing? So, 1, be clear on your goals. Choose a clear and precise desire. For me, it helps for me to write it down. When I write, I get very clear on what I want. It allows me to weed through what I think I want versus what my heart truly, truly desires. And always know that you can always revise. So at any point in time, you're like, well, I thought I wanted this. It's okay. Go rewrite it out and put it where you put your stuff. I put mine on my altar or wherever else I want to put it in my home, in my space. But write it out, be clear. That's what helps me. But that's not to say it's going to help you. So find what works for you and apply that. Step 2, positive affirmations. The use of positive affirmations is so powerful. Reprogram your brain to believe you can achieve your goals by just tuning into positive affirmation. This step was very helpful for me, especially when my mind began to doubt. But let me preface, it requires you to be present in your mind and your body to notice when you're having feelings of doubt or negative spiraling. Negative spiraling is, okay, going back to like attracts like, when your brain is thinking like, this ain't gonna work, and then the next thought, but I can't stand so-and-so, and the next thing, and it's just, you keep going down and down the spiral of low vibrational things. So that's what we mean by negative spiraling. So positive affirmations, it was the game changer. I could say, out of all the steps I'm going to say, this was one of the most important for me, because it required me to be present. I'm someone who is very analytical, and in my mind, I can exist in my mind all day. Just like think things through. It's the researcher, whatever in me. But it required me to stop, kind of get out of my mind, get into my body. How do you feel? Are you holding tension in your body? Why do you feel that way? Okay. And then so it allowed me to just be in a state of peace and presence. And I would notice when thoughts would come up. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thought. I would just observe it and move on. And I would notice when negative thoughts come up. And instead of engaging with them, I'd be like, for example, oh, I don't have enough money for that. Well, thank you for your concern, but I'm actually very abundant and I'm magnetic to money. It comes to me all the time. For me just existing, money comes to me, and I would affirm myself like that. Now, it was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. To be constantly present of every single thought, ground myself within those thoughts, and affirm myself through it. It took a lot of work, but it was worth it in the end. Okay, so I'm just telling you what worked for me, and I'm sharing this so it might help you. Letting myself know that I was worthy, safe, and deserving of good experiences helped me tremendously, especially with my lack mentality and navigating through the experiences of past disappointments or just negative experiences in general. It really helped challenge me to believe that I was deserving of something so much more, and I hope that you realize of how deserving you are if you're watching this video. Step 3, focus on your goal. Replace images with positive ones. So you want to keep things around you that help you affirm your manifestations, what you're wanting to attract in. I have vision boards. I have like things written out that I want to bring in. I put them on my screensavers. I remind myself, what do I want? And when the universe, God, DTs, whatever you attune to answers your prayers and you have like physical representation, put that in a place that you walk by daily. I keep this on my altar, and I smile every time I see it. I'm like, thank you. But keep visual reminders around you that like, hey, this is possible. Keep going, keep going. Number 4, practice gratitude. Be grateful for what you have and for the process or the progress you are making towards your goals. This is super important because gratitude is one of the most high vibrational acts you can do. To just be thankful for the abundance that you currently have, for the answered prayers that you currently are existing in. What that does, like attracts like, it brings in more of those experiences. So be grateful. Have a moment of gratitude. Gratitude also helps with negative spiraling too. So if you're having trouble with spiral, like the negative spiral thoughts, and affirmations are just not doing it for you, stop, take a couple breaths, take about 3 deep breaths, and list off 10 things you're grateful for right there in that moment. Your health, your mind, your space, rattle them off. So with the people that I work with in coaching, I tell them that it's hard for your brain to do 2 things at one time. It's hard for you to be in a state of lack when you're being grateful. So if you're noticing yourself spiraling up, I see what's happening, but I'm actually grateful for this. And I'm grateful for that. And so just remind yourself, and it's a really good practice to have throughout your day. Maybe just wake up and just have some things that you're grateful for just to start your day off on a good note. So going back to like having good images, focus or visualize your goals. For me, it helped me again to have pictures of what I want to bring in or create. I will also sit down every morning and visualize what I want and how it would make me feel, as I mentioned before. So here is another very important step. I don't know if I'm on 4 or 5 or 6. I think I'm on step number 5, but in post edit, I'll take care of it. Take action. Develop an action plan and work towards your manifestations or your attractions. So friendly reminder, manifesting without actions are nothing more than you making wishes out here in these streets, okay? So going back to what I was talking about, the difference between law of attraction and manifestation, I think both require action from you. Okay, manifestations do not necessarily require you making it happen, but rather being a willing participant in the process. And I think that's what I really want to hone in. It's not about you like, okay, I want to be New York Times bestseller, so I want to write this out and I'm going to force it or just bring it to the editor and be like, here it is, da da da. You can do it. No one's saying that's not a possibility. You absolutely can do it, but if you're tuning yourself to law of attraction, there's a different process you might want to do. So, again, using the same analogy, if you want to be New York Times bestseller, then just get started on your draft. Begin visualizing, doing your steps, but be consistent in your follow through. So, okay, you do your draft, and now you're sitting like waiting for a call. That's not how that's going to work. You do your draft. Okay, now revise that draft. Now work on the edit. Now do. Now do. And so from that draft, you revise, edit, you get the book done. For me, manifesting California, I had to book the ticket. For me, planning the nonprofit event, I had to act like I had the money, but also act on the intuitive guidance that I received to reach out to certain people. So it's about you making sure you are doing your part in the process of attracting. Your participation is needed. You just need to stay grounded to receive guidance on how to best work with your situation. So just going back to the analogy of New York Times bestseller. So you finish your book, now what? This is when the magic comes in. And I love to use the word magic because for me, it's such a magical experience. I still go like, oh what? You answered my prayer, my attraction? Oh, this is great. So once the work is complete, now follow the guidance. You might be surprised on who you meet. I mean, it's absolute bananas. My second year using law of attraction for my nonprofit, my second annual emotional wellness month, I spoke out the first year. I went aligned with a counseling office. Baby, the way in which I aligned with the counseling office was nothing short of magical. I called up the city council park and rec department, and they were like, I have a number for you to call. And it was just like I went on a little goose chase. It was amazing. And from there, I've connected with some amazing professionals who sat and spoke on my panels. And it's a wild time. So just make sure you're doing your part. It's one thing to just have it and wish it. It's another thing for you to do your steps so that you can allow for it to flow through. Step number, whichever one, I'm going to put it here. Start small. Okay, baby steps. Try out techniques on small things first to get a feel for how law of attraction can work in your life. Again, going back to the Times bestseller, start small, brainstorm, okay? If you want to use law of attraction for your brainstorming process, just ask, okay, can I have some ideas on what would be a really good book topic I could write about? And then release it, let it go, don't hold on to it. Allow yourself to just live, enjoy yourself, have fun. Actually, I want to take a pause real quick. The more you tune into joy and higher vibrational energies, the least resistance you have in your energy flow. So it's going to be easier for guidance to come in and help assist you. I tell you, I wouldn't call myself a law of attraction master. I would not say that, but I will say that I've utilized it so much to where I thought I had a 15,000 word paper due, and I used law of attraction. I laid down after having fun with my son, and I said, I need help writing this paper. Baby, I was writing it in my sleep. I literally had a journal by my bed. I would just lay, I'd be relaxed, and then just the words were coming, and I said, and is. So I've really figured out a way to use law of attraction in such a way that is really helping me move my life in a way in which I was not even aware that was a possibility. So with baby steps, doing baby steps within your actual law of attraction, but utilizing to like just get yourself comfortable with the process. Manifest a parking spot. Like just be like, there'll be open parking right by the front of the door. And when you have it, say thank you. Have gratitude. And just have fun with it. Have fun. Okay. Whichever step. Look for positives. Look for the positive in a situation and reframe negative events in a more positive way. This is going to help you keep out of the negative spiral and stay in flow state. Now, what in the world is flow state? I think I brought it up at some point in this conversation. Maybe, maybe not. Flow state is the state of being where you are in alignment and grounded within yourself and your higher self and source energy. So you are vibrationally in alignment with source, and to be there is powerful. It's a powerful place to be for me. It's challenging for me to exist there on a daily basis. What helps me do that again is meditation. Grounding is huge. So being present with myself to know that, hey, you're holding on to a lot of energy. You need to transmute it, like take it from my vessel and put it out in the world through art, journal, burn bowl ceremonies, what have you. But I need to do something. So being in a flow state is a fantastic place to be. You must be a vibrational match to what you want. If you're wanting to manifest money, but in childhood you were poor and you still carry that poverty mindset, it is going to be more challenging for you to attract high vibrational abundance when you're rooted and operating in that lower vibrational energy space. So just be mindful of where you are. A lot of this work requires being mindful, being tuned to where you are mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically. It's a really great process. Okay, the last and final step, choose your environment wisely, removing your blocks. This step is easier said than done. So for me, I had so many different blocks as a girl with different forms of trauma from my past. They were resurfacing, tripping me up in my process. But even within that, it allowed me to heal. It offered me a process of healing and deeper sense of self-love. So I leaned heavily again in my meditations. It was imperative for me to connect. I leaned into people who support me through the process, who've been through the experience before, really leaning into my spiritual running mates, if you will. I affirmed myself. I went into nature. Nature was huge for me to ground. I journaled. I prayed. All of these things helped me recalibrate my emotional state and restore alignment within my frequencies that resonated with my goals and my desires. So all those things has truly helped me successfully move through any resistance that I had experienced from my past trauma, and help me create a clear channel for law of attraction, for connection, divine insight, and it really helped me receive my desires. So I hope it was helpful. So I really hope this video has helped someone out there and provide hope for anyone feeling discouraged while trying to attune to law of attraction. Keep going. Please feel free to share your law of attraction successes or where you are in the process. Let's support each other. This paradigm shift can be such an isolating thing, especially if you don't have community. So please feel free to utilize my comment section as a place to share your journey, share where you are. I'm going to be a support person. I'm going to respond to any message or any comment in there. If you're looking for someone to help you work hands-on, I do offer coaching. I do have literature, workbooks, all the things, the tools that I needed moving through my journey, I've created in some form, whether digital content, videos, whatever, so that it could help someone else. We're gonna work smarter, not harder. That's my slogan for life. Okay, until next time, okay? Like, share, and subscribe this join, okay? I'm doing the next ACEs series that's gonna be released February. We're gonna be talking about drugs in the Black community and how it impacts our spiritual cognitive abilities. But anyway, bye-bye.